So the new training plan's been built, and I'm looking forward to what the next several months have laid out before me. The goals I've set, the benchmarks that need to be met, and yeah, all the projects to juggle. But I've got that feeling of I've been here before, haven't I? But this time it feels different and maybe a little more draining. When faced with these challenges in the past, we're able to usually just make headway and get to the other side. A little battle worn, sure, but not beaten. But it seems like this is not like before. We're all feeling stress and anxiety when coming into a new plan. Can I do it? Will I make it through? Or is this something I even want to put myself through? I think many are in the same boat as I am, so let's talk about it. You look down the road to see where you want to be and what you want to accomplish. Plot your course, and you're ready to face the challenges ahead. Sure, you expect some speed bumps along the way, whether it's from plateauing or plans not coming to fruition, you name it. But there are certain guaranteed elements that make the struggles worth it. In charting out that course, you put together your training plan and you know there will be intense days and rest days. That balance is necessary so you don't overload your system. Any coach or mentor will tell you that the key to making progress and being able to push through the trials and tribulations is recovery. You need adequate recovery to not only tackle the next rough training day, but to maintain your strength, your momentum, and your mental health, let alone build upon any of those. You work hard at consistency, grinding every day, and giving it your best effort. You know that kudos and the work you're putting into your training is rarely seen, but when it's noticed, it feels great and adds to your personal satisfaction. But there's more to it than that. Let's be honest. We're not doing these training programs because we think the rest of the world will know or even care about the work we put into it, the sacrifices we make to get those extra hours in, or the various ways we find motivation to keep doing what we're doing in spite of forces outside of ourselves trying to hinder our progress and performance. It might be difficult for some to see, but time on the bike benefits others. The visibility and advocacy, active or passive, brings benefits to others even when we don't always personally gain from those benefits, or at least we're not benefiting in the same manner. Being out there and seen can inspire others. I know when I see someone out on a bike, I want to be out doing the same thing. And as we've heard so many times, regular exercise brings numerous benefits to society, hopefully fostering overall public well being. Additionally, active people tend to be more productive at work and require fewer sick days, contributing to a more efficient and economically stable society. This contributes to more positive social interactions, increased participation in community activities, and even lower crime rates, as mentally well balanced individuals are less likely to engage in antisocial behaviors. And finally, when individuals prioritize fitness, they inspire others to do the same, creating a culture of wellness that benefits everyone. So, yeah, the benefits of the work and efforts we do isn't just for our own enrichment, but can be vast and far reaching in ways we might never know. But if we don't know the immediate impact of all this, does that mean the hours and years of work and training and all of that is useless and the money put into it was wasteful? Not by a long shot. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. Trust me, I know how hard it is to be working hard on a training program, thinking I'm making progress, only to see myself in the mirror each day and not see any benefits or changes. But just because I can't see it doesn't mean there aren't changes for the better happening. All too often, someone will point something out that I hadn't noticed because I was just too blind to it. We have to remember that we have to look outside of ourselves. It's hard work, and some days can be a challenge to find the motivation to put forth that effort. Day in, day out, a Sisyphean task that Feels like no progress is ever being made. It's on those days we have to remember that these training programs are designed to help individuals improve endurance, strength, and technique, guiding towards peak performance. That said, not all training environments are supportive or effective. Some programs push too hard, offer poor guidance, or rely on negative reinforcement, leading to frustration and setbacks rather than progress. In any structured training plan, the approach taken by those in charge can either uplift individuals or break their spirit. With the absence of a good coach guiding you and helping you along your journey, you're left instead relying on just words on a screen from a faceless being dictating what you're to do and when, which can hinder motivation. Success depends not only on perseverance, but also on recognizing unhealthy patterns and finding ways to overcome them. Having a good understanding not just of what you're being asked to do, but also why can help facilitate that driving spirit. Knowing why you're being asked to perform at a certain level or what the intervals would do to help your growth and motivation. You aren't just an automaton on a bike, but a living, breathing person doing what you can do to get through this intense session. Having that better understanding of why you're being pushed is important in being prepared mentally. One major pitfall in training is excessive strain. When we're constantly pushed to our limits without proper rest, we can suffer from fatigue, injury, and diminished motivation. Instead of growing stronger, we might find ourselves struggling to keep up, questioning our abilities, or even considering giving up altogether. The very goal of improvement completely undermined. Sustainable progress requires a balance between effort and rest, ensuring that growth is not achieved at the cost of long-term well-being. When training is inconsistent, confusing, the whole process becomes discouraging. Instead of refining our skills, we may feel lost, unable to gauge whether we're improving or simply spinning our wheels. Progress depends not just on effort, but on having a structured and supportive system that provides clear direction and constructive feedback. Instead of feeling inspired to push ourselves, we may begin to associate training with stress and anxiety. A system that cultivates fear rather than confidence ultimately limits an individual's ability to grow and achieve their full potential. Despite these difficulties, we can take steps to overcome adversity and continue progressing. Recognizing the dangers of overexertion allows us to listen to our bodies, incorporate rest, and adjust our training methods to avoid burnout. Instead of blindly following a demanding program, we can seek alternative approaches that emphasize sustainable improvement. Understanding that relentless strain does not equate to success is key to long-term achievement. Additionally, seeking out supportive communities can make a significant difference. Training with others who encourage progress, provide constructive feedback, and share their experiences can help counteract negative influences. Whether through mentors or fellow cyclists or experienced coaches. And of course, loved ones who might not be in the same boat, but they're there to listen and help however they can to provide at least moral support. Finding positive sources of guidance can restore confidence and motivation. A strong support system fosters resilience, ensuring that setbacks do not define the journey, but instead serve as stepping stones to improvement. Ultimately, successful training is not just about physical endurance, but also about mental resilience and the ability to recognize when a system is failing rather than the individual failing. Growth should be built on a foundation of balance, support, positive reinforcement, rather than excessive pressures and negativity. By identifying unhealthy patterns, seeking the right guidance, and prioritizing long-term well-being, we can navigate challenges and emerge stronger, not just as athletes, but as individuals capable of overcoming adversity in any pursuit. Looking at the screen and seeing what you have to accomplish in front of you, however daunting it may look, you have to try and remind yourself to hold the line. You see the hills and valleys on the plan, the stressful efforts and the recoveries, which might seem too short, but you need to do what you can to hold the line on that session and make it to the other side. So, what do we do about it? How do we approach this overly stressful training to try and get back on track for successful outcome? Well, I did a little digging and found some lists, tips, and other things to keep in mind. I combined some of the recurring statements and have a filtered list for you. Here's a top 10 list of things to consider in no particular order. Focus on the present. Ground yourself in the moment rather than worrying about the past sessions where you struggled or future sessions that you aren't looking forward to. Understand what's being asked. Assess what's within your control and what isn't to avoid unnecessary worry. If the timing of a session is stressing you out, find alternatives to the plan to better match what you're capable of for that moment. Channel your energy. Take a step back when needed and engage in some other activity, creative expression, or some other hobby, something to focus on away from the current stressor. Keep a positive mindset. Reframe challenges as opportunities for growth and practice gratitude to maintain resilience. Understanding your why. I think this one's self-explanatory and is the foundation of why I started this whole process to begin with. But know and understand why you're willing to tackle the tasks at hand and keep them in your mind and in your heart. Disconnect when needed. Take breaks from overly stressful sessions or social media to regain mental balance. Social media is a whole other topic, but that's for a later time. Take deep breaths. Slow, deep breathing activates the body's relaxation response and reduces stress. Before jumping into the activity, take a moment and center yourself. Tell yourself that you can get through this. It might not be great, but you can see yourself on the other side successfully. Adapt to change. Embrace flexibility and adjust your approach to challenges instead of resisting them. The new task seems too much to overcome? Don't look at it as a roadblock, but as an opportunity to prove to yourself that you can't be beat, that you can get through it. Engage in support systems. Talk to friends, family, or other professionals to share those burdens and gain perspective. Is there someone else on a plan that they're struggling with? Use each other as sounding boards and sympathetic ears. Make time for yourself. This training is not all that you are, and the success and struggles that you encounter are not what define you 100%. Make sure you have other hobbies, rest, or find some other form of self-care to recharge and maintain emotional well-being. You may find that having those other escapes can make the next session a little easier to tackle. Will these steps fix everything? No. But utilizing a combination of them can help adjust your path in order to put you in a better position mentally to navigate through the stressors of the current training plan that seems overwhelming or impossible to complete. Remember, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. I'm right there too. I have a new plan, and I'm doing what I can to hit each mark as needed and to keep myself going without throwing in the towel. It can be difficult, but remember, no one is alone in this. It's a great time to reach out to others and chat about the anxiety or the stress of making sure you're doing each session successfully, or how to have the energy and courage to show up and give it your all the next day. All of this might sound melodramatic, But when we're talking about a part of one's identity, either personally or publicly, it matters and the stress is real and impactful. I recently saw a quote online that really hit home for me, and it couldn't be more true. And while this is more focused on work, it also goes for anything that falls under the umbrella of doing what you love. And they said, doing what you love sucks. Whoever said, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life was absolutely lying. Do what you love and you'll never know who you are without work. Do what you love and you'll never stop thinking about work. It'll take over your identity and you'll never stop thinking about how to do it better or how to make it more effective in its meaning. Yeah. Any of us can stop at any time and walk away. We have that freedom. But what's the result of doing that? Well, we would let ourselves down knowing that we allowed something that doesn't really have control over us win. I have my plan ahead of me and I'm pursuing it with all that I can. But make no mistake, I will not hesitate to reach out to others when I start to falter and when I need that little extra boost. And I'll make myself available to others in the same situation. I've got one last quote to kind of help wrap things up. You can do a lot in a lifetime if you don't burn out too fast. You can make the most of the distance. First, you need endurance. First, you've got to last. I still want to talk about that bit I mentioned earlier about social media and disconnecting when needed. But you know what? That's going to have to wait until next time. Thanks for hanging out with me at the cafe stop. Make sure we're there for each other. And let's do this again soon.